Not sure if you should become a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, or business intelligence analyst? From personal experience, I know how confusing it can be to figure out where to start in the data world. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down. We'll go over what each role actually does, the tools and skills you need, salary expectations, and how to figure out which one is right for you. And at the end, I'll do a side-by-side comparison to help you make your final decision. Before we dive in, comment below. Which role do you think fits you best right now? Let's see if that changes by the end of the video. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Rasha, a senior data analyst. I post new videos every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out. To make it easy to understand, let's use a simple framework, the data pipeline. This is how data flows through an organization. It usually follows this process: collect and store the data, clean and transform it, analyze and visualize it, model and predict using it. Each role taps into different parts of this pipeline, and their focus, tools, and goals are all different. Let's start with the role at the beginning of the pipeline: data engineers. They're the builders. Their job is to make sure that data is collected, stored, and delivered properly so others can use it. If you've never heard of them, don't worry. They usually don't work in the spotlight. But trust me, without them, none of the other data roles would be possible. I like to think of them as the architect and plumbers of the data world. They make sure that the right data gets to the right people, clean, organized, and ready to use. So what do? They build and maintain data pipelines. They design and optimize data architecture. They implement ETL, which is extract, transform, load processes, work with massive data sets, and ensure the quality. Their main responsibility is building data pipelines, which are a system that moves data from raw sources like API, database, or even IoT device, all the way into data warehouse like Redshift or BigQuery. This process is often called ETL or ELT, depending on the setup. They're also the ones that design how the data is stored. So they ask themselves questions like, is it going into a structured SQL database, or a new SQL setup like Mongo database, or maybe a data lake on Amazon Web Services? It's their job to figure out the best setup based on the company's needs. Another key part of their job is making sure that the data is reliable. They handle data quality, remove duplicates, and set up monitoring systems to catch broken pipelines or any missing files before anyone else notices. They also collaborate a lot with other teams, with analysts, data scientists, and software engineers to make sure everyone has the right access that they need while keeping security and documentation in check. Now, here's the catch. This is not an entry-level role at most companies, because you're literally managing systems that fuel the entire organization decision-making. One single mistake can have a massive impact. So it's common to start as a data analyst or software engineer and then transition into data engineer as you gain more and more experience. Also, you won't be in the spotlight like a data scientist or business intelligence analyst, but you're the backbone. And honestly, a great data engineer can make or break how successful the rest of the data team is. So in terms of skills, you need strong programming fundamentals, especially in Python and SQL, along with experience in cloud platforms and a solid understanding of big data tools like Spark or Hadoop. For example, let's say a company gets thousands of transactions every day. A data engineer will build a pipeline that automatically pulls this raw data from APIs, cleans it, stores it in a warehouse like Snowflake, so analysts can later work on it and query it. As for salary, data engineers in the US typically earn between $91,000 to $126,000 and more, depending on experience and location. So, if you're someone who loves building things, optimizing systems, and working more on the back end, data engineering might be the path for you. Let's talk about one of the most popular and often most misunderstood roles in the data world, the data analyst. A lot of people assume data analysts make dashboard or spend all day in Excel. But there's so much more to this role. A data analyst is someone who explores, interprets, and presents data to help the businesses make better decisions. They're basically the problem solvers, the one turning raw numbers into stories that actually matter to teams like marketing, sales, operation, and product. At a high level, Analysts are responsible for three key things. First, understanding business question, then finding and analyzing the right data, and third, communicating insight in a clear, actionable way. You might be building dashboards, pulling reports, running A/B tests, or cleaning data, all depending on what your team needs. What do they do? Most of your work would involve SQL for querying database, Excel for quick calculation or pivot table, Power BI, Tableau, or any visualization tool for building dashboards, and sometimes Python for deeper analysis or even automation. You don't need to know everything right away, but you do need a solid foundation in data cleaning, exploration, and storytelling. Analysts also spend a lot of time talking to stakeholders. So if you're someone who likes working across different departments and you enjoy solving puzzles with data, this role can be super fulfilling. Now, here's what a lot of people don't realize. Data analyst is one of the most accessible entry points into the data world. Unlike data engineers or data science, you do not need a degree or 5 years of backend experience to actually get started. It's also a role that's a great stepping stone into more technical roles later on, like data science or analytical engineer, which is something I'm personally planning on doing. So, in terms of skills, focus on strong SQL. This is a non negotiable. Excel, especially formulas, lookup, pivot tables. Business intelligence tool like Power BI or Tableau. Critical thinking and communication, and some basic statistics to interpret data trends. Also, soft skills matter just as much as technical ones because you'll need to explain complex results in a way that non-technical teams can actually use and understand. A good example, imagine the marketing team wants to know why email open rate dropped. A data analyst will investigate the pattern, segment user, and present the finding visually, helping the team make better data-driven decisions. As for the salary, data analysts in North America typically make between 71,000 to 105,000 with variation by industry and skill level. We don't just make dashboards, we solve problems. Their job is to help business understand what the data is saying. So if you're someone who loves working with data, but also enjoys storytelling, collaboration, and impact, data analyst might be the perfect place to start your career journey. Now that we've covered what data analysts do, let's move into a role that's a little bit more strategic, the business intelligence analyst. Now let's talk about business intelligence analyst or business analyst. These roles often overlap with data analysts, but they focus more on business strategy and stakeholder collaboration. Their goal isn't just to understand the data, it's to translate it into strategic insight that can lead to better decision, cost saving, or improved processes. Emphasis on the cost saving here. They often take the lead on identifying project, business cases, and operational improvement that can generate value, especially cost savings. A big part of the role is tracking the performance and financial impact of those initiatives through report, dashboard, and KPI trackers. So what do? They define businesses like KPI and track performance. They create self-serving dashboard. They translate business need into data requirement. They collaborate with executive, product team, sales, etc. The tools they use: Power BI, Excel, sometimes tools like Salesforce or business enterprise reporting processes system. So here's an example. Let's say a company is spending millions each year on logistics and wants to reduce delivery costs. A BI analyst might analyze shipment data across region, identify patterns in delay or high-cost routes, and pinpoint where inefficiencies are happening. Then they build an interactive dashboard that shows real-time shipping costs by vendor, route, and delivery time, helping operational manager make faster, smarter decisions. As a result, the company switches vendors in key regions and optimizes delivery schedules, which leads to an annual savings of over $500,000. On average, they make $74,000 to $120,000 depending on how technical the role is. So, if you love solving businesses problem, working cross-functional, and making data work for people, becoming a business analyst could be your ideal starting point. Finally, the data scientists. These are the most technical roles, and they usually work at the end of the data pipeline. So they take the data beyond insight and into prediction, using machine learning to model the future outcomes. But also, not every company needs a data scientist, but nearly every company needs a data analyst. Data scientists are more common in large organizations with more complex data needs, which also means more competition for fewer roles. So what do? They build machine learning models. They run experiments like A/B testing. They forecast future trend, perform statistical analysis. The tools they use are Python, R, SQL, Jupyter Notebooks, Amazon Web Services for deploying models. Here's an example. A data scientist at a streaming service might build a model to recommend shows based on user behavior, just like Netflix. As for the salary, it goes from 97,000 to 148,000 and more, and can go way higher if you have a master or PhD. This is one of the most technical and rewarding roles in the data world. So their job is to build predictive models, uncover trends, and drive innovation using advanced analytics and machine learning. So if you're someone who's excited by statistics, loves to code, and want to push the boundaries of what data can do, a career in data science might just be your perfect match.
Hi guys, so there's a point I forgot to mention that's actually important. It's like your roles might overlap just because it depends on your team. If you have a small team or if you're working for a startup, then they have to do what they have and they don't have enough employees. So you might be multitasking and taking on different hats at your company. So just please keep that in mind.
So now that you know what each of these roles really does, which one fits you best? Let me know in the comments below. If you're more into business and dashboards and maybe just starting out, maybe data analyst or business analyst is the way to go. If you're into engineering and pipelines and have more experience, check out data engineering. And if you love machine learning, statistics, and math, data science could be your path. I have a few useful videos on how to become a data analyst and how to build your portfolio. I'll have them linked below. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share this with someone exploring a career in data. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.